What was the worst outcome of you saying no? Maybe you missed connecting with a person, or having a good night out. Maybe you lost out on a job opportunity, or the possibility of winning a prize. What if saying no cost you more? What if it cost you your security, your freedom, and heck, even a body part? What if it made you public enemy number one and set precedents in the law across Canada? What is the worst thing that can happen from saying no? George Munsef and his wife Sage Morin and their two kids Gio and Quinton are sitting on the outdoor patio of Rick's Grill at 14229 23rd Avenue in Edmonton, Alberta. An SUV containing Richard Suter and his wife Gaiska tries to pull into a parking stall in front of where the family is sitting. It's a handicap parking stall, so he tries to back up and find another one. The phrase, "Why don't we just get a divorce?" is heard screamed inside the car. The car creeps forward, and then Richard slams his foot on what he thinks is the brake. Two-year-old Gio is pinned into the building wall, and he dies instantly. The next 10 minutes are not known as patrons scramble to collect their thoughts. Allegedly, Richard is pulled from the vehicle and thrown to the ground, where patrons begin to beat him. He cowers and rolls into the fetal position as he is kicked and dragged in the parking lot. The police arrive and the crowd disperses. They ask him to blow into the breathalyzer to confirm he wasn't drunk. He calls a lawyer. Not his lawyer, but a lawyer. One that they recommend. When he hangs up the phone, he answers the police. No. At that moment, he has no idea where that choice is going to take him. But let's go back a little bit. 2008. The Canadian government finds that there's a gap in the impaired driving law when it comes to death. Refusing to take the breathalyzer after causing a car accident that results in death carries much less consequences than actually impaired driving. So why would you ever blow if you were impaired? The law is changed so that if you refuse to blow, you get the same sentence as if you were impaired, which is all the way up to life. Richard is sitting at home drinking a screwdriver, which is a cocktail that consists of orange juice and a shot of vodka in it. He has been fighting with his wife for the past few days. Their marriage is on its last legs. At 5 p.m., he has another screwdriver. He asks his wife if she wants to go eat. They tolerate each other for long enough to sit down at a local Chili's and order food. At 6:30 p.m., he has a beer, but only drinks half of it. Their food comes and it's cold. He sends it back and decides to leave to go somewhere else. His wife gets angry at him. 7:37 p.m. While driving to Rick's Grill, they get into another argument. A divorce is brought up, and he tries to park but realizes it's a handicap stall. He thinks he puts it in reverse. He lurches forward and his wife yells at him, "You're moving forward." He slams on what he thinks is the brake, accelerates into the glass of the patio, and wakes up being kicked on the pavement. Police pull up. Patrons are swearing that he's drunk, he's killed someone, and that there's a child underneath the car. Police also think he's drunk and list it on their report. They want him to take a breathalyzer, but after getting advice from a lawyer that the police themselves recommend, he says no. He is arrested and brought in for questioning. 2 days after the death, Sage Morin, Gio's mother, starts the Justice for Gio Facebook and webpage. At the first court hearing, the protests outside forced the police to beef up their security. Richard's wife is assaulted in a South Edmonton parking lot. The start of the vigilantism begins. Richard is sleeping at home with his wife when frantic knocks at the door and the doorbell get him up. He answers it to find 3 men claiming they are police at his door. They're wearing black, thick clothing and balaclavas. "What's this all about?" he asks. "You know what this is about," they respond. They handcuff him, bag his head, and force him into a pickup truck. When his wife asks why they are taking him, they say he has done something really bad to a kid, and drive off. Richard tries to ask questions, but the only thing they want him to know is why he is here. "Did you hurt anyone last fall?" they ask. "Yes," he responds. They say, "Yes, you killed a kid." They get to the edge of the city at the time, 170th Street and Ellerslie Road, and push him into the snow wearing only his bathrobe and snow boots. They remove the blindfold and free his left arm. He feels a crushing pain as they try to remove his left thumb. The first tool isn't sharp enough. They try again with a different tool, pruning shears supposedly, and they are successful this time. He drops to the ground and they beat him mercilessly. At some point, he regains consciousness and walks out into the road to flag down help, clutching at what appears to be a fanny pack in his right hand. A car drives by with 3 people returning from the airport. They administer first aid and remark, "He was calm, eerily calm." In his right hand, the fanny pack contains the information of Stephen Diamond Volrath and Peter Carriere. He is taken to the hospital with a bruised windpipe, a lacerated face, and no left thumb. The thumb itself is never found. A day later, Sage Moran would decry the abduction and take to Facebook, reminding her followers that justice for Gio was created as a beacon of light for their family in an otherwise extremely dark time. Their family remains hopeful and entrusting of the legal system to bring justice. The police pursue the Diamond connection and trace his shopping habits back to a local Edmonton surplus store. He bought a tactical vest and a toque with police written on them. They put a photo of him in a lineup where a very hazy Richard believes his attacker was the son of his friend. He then sees Diamond. With 90% certainty, he picks him from that line as one of his attackers. Diamond is picked up in Canmore, BC, after he is found sleeping in his car by the police. He points the gun at the officer and is arrested immediately. He is charged with kidnapping, personating a police officer, aggravated assault, and possession of a deadly weapon. The first trial begins. This is Alberta's first go at the new failure to breathalyze law. This could carry a life sentence in prison if administered properly. Richard pleads guilty of refusing to provide a breath sample, and that's it. After lengthy court proceedings, Richard gets 4 months in jail, 30 months driving prohibition, and a $200 fine. To say the city was underwhelmed is an understatement. The prosecution thought so as well. Diamond is sentenced to 12 years in prison, a sentence 66 times greater than Richard's. The prosecution's appeal is successful, and Richard gets a total of 26 months in jail. He also sues the lawyer that gave him the bad advice for $600,000. Richard's defense team manages to appeal again and get him out of prison on $5,000 bail. With time previously served while waiting for court proceedings, he has only served 19.5 months of the full 26. They prepare a full appeal not to the Alberta courts, but they go right to the top, to the Supreme Court of Canada. They are hoping to return to the original 4-month sentence for refusing to use a breathalyzer, effectively keeping him out of jail. Richard is a free man. The Supreme Court upholds the driving prohibition, but doesn't see the need to put him behind bars again. With his current time served and the vigilante action brought upon him, that is seen as enough justice. A disappointed sigh is heard from Gio's supporters. The Facebook group is privated, the website lapses and disappears, and the case is pretty much done. Diamond also appeals his sentence. It is dismissed considering he has a criminal record going back to 1997. In my opinion, It also probably had something to do with the amount of money he was able to put towards his defense. Let's get into the misconceptions. Many people, including myself, believe that Richard didn't apologize to the family. He did at the original court case in October of 2015. In my opinion, I don't think that was enough, but he did at least ask for forgiveness. This was one of the most incendiary cases in Edmonton's history. Everyone was talking about it, and we all came to the same opinion. He was drunk and deserved everything he got and more. According to the investigators, turns out we were all wrong. When detectives traced his steps back to the Chili's in 2013, they interviewed everyone he came in contact with and confirmed his drink purchases. The front of the house all said he was completely sober when they were serving him and didn't smell of alcohol at all. The short drive from Chili's to Rick's Grill is too short for you to actually drink that much and get that inebriated, so that was ruled out. In a similar vein, neither him or his wife ever left the scene after the car crash, nor did they clear anything out of the vehicle. The attending officers who thought he was drunk were most likely seeing the signs of shock. Glassy eyes, slurred speech, inattentiveness, and impaired motor function are all very common after a crash, especially after being beaten on the pavement. In terms of Gio's family, none of the family or supporters were ever connected to the kidnapping. While the police have not closed the case, they have never, and do not expect to ever, connect anyone with the random act of vigilantism. As previously stated, the case is still ongoing. Only Stephen Vollrath has been convicted. 2 other men are still at large. Speaking of old Diamond Vollrath, let's get into the conspiracy part of this whole case. I just want to say the following is purely speculation on my part. None of this has any foundation, and I am not a police officer, so what do I know? That being said, how Diamond was convicted brings up a bunch of questions in my mind. The fanny pack containing 2 expired IDs is a very convenient piece of evidence, and pretty strong. The night Richard was dropped off, he does not remember grabbing the fanny pack from the truck, nor does he remember grabbing it off of any of the suspects. He just came to in a snowy field, picked up the nearest object, and walked towards the road, where he found the car full of Samaritans. They testified that he seemed fixated on the pack. He kept asking them, "Is this yours? Does this belong to you?" He shoved it in their face and wanted them to look in it. The inspectors noted that the pack contained the 2009 ID of Stephen Diamond Vollrath, as well as his social insurance card, a piece of jewelry in the shape of a cross, a burner phone linked to Diamond, the 2015 Saskatchewan driver's license of Peter Carrere, and a few other unimportant items. The cross would be matched to a recent photo of him on Facebook, which meant the ID, cell phone, and cross all put him clearly at the scene. Diamond was known to sling drugs around Edmonton, if prior convictions are to be believed. The cell phone is no help in narrowing down the time frame, as he had been using it since October of 2014. The purchase of fake police vests and a toque is extremely suspicious, but when they asked Richard and Gaiska to describe the gear the kidnappers were wearing, they said they were wearing SWAT-type jackets with inspector or security or investigator written on them, and of course their balaclavas. Both were very sure it didn't say police on any of the clothing. Note that no one is described as wearing a toque with the words police written on it, or any kind of tactical vest. The time frame is convenient as these items were purchased 2 days before the kidnapping, but in my opinion, that could also be coincidence. The Peter Carrera connection is also never furthered as the police found the license to be a forgery. The photo is of a then current inmate at the Edmonton Remand Center named Stephen Brooks, so why did Diamond have it on him in his fanny pack? When Richard was reviewing the photo lineup, he was 90% certain of Diamond based on the blonde hair poking out of his balaclava and a brief glimpse of his face in low light before passing out. Richard testified that there were no streetlights out there, and it was a pretty overcast night, so this being midnight, how much could he actually see? He also noted that Diamond had a resemblance to his friend's son, and another person's picture in the list could have passed for the driver of the vehicle. Was this just an elaborate way to set up two guys to take the fall? Or was the fanny pack already in the field when the trio dropped Richard there? Did it fall out during the scuffle and no one noticed? I doubt we'll ever know, and these are all just speculations from myself. But it's a little suspicious. The case is still referenced and studied to this day, as it's the perfect storm of just wrong moves and wrong advice. Gio deserved far better. Thanks for watching.